The 1970s was a stormy time with strikes, protests, and riots. Many women were angry that they still didn't have the same opportunities as men. In Northern Ireland, there were violent clashes between Protestants and Catholics. Worst of all, the prices of housing, food, and other goods were rocketing. While wages remained low, employers simply couldn't afford to pay any more since most industries had been in decline since the 1950s. Workers became more and more unhappy. In 1972, the coal miners asked for a pay rise. When the government refused, miners across the nation went on strike, refusing to work. This was devastatingly for Britain's power supply, which depended on coal. Schools, factories, and offices were forced to close down, and despite Prime Minister Edward Heath had to refuse the working week to 3 days to save electricity. In the end, after 7 weeks, the government gave in, the miners won their pay rise, and more trouble was to come. In 1973, Britain joined the European Economic Community, or EEC, a group of European states which traded freely with each other. Suddenly, people could buy cheap European goods instead of the more expensive British ones, and many British industries, such as car and clothing manufacturers, could not sell their products. To make matters worse, a war in the Middle East stopped oil from reaching Britain, reducing the nation's fuel supply. In 1974, the miners went on strike once again and won another pay rise, but prices continued to climb. During the winter of 78 and 79, many more workers went on strike, demanding high wages. Lorry drivers, waste collectors, and even ambulance drivers refused to work. As vast piles of household waste built up on the streets and emergency calls were ignored, the government could do nothing to control the situation. It became known as the Winter of Discontent. The women's liberation movement formed in the late 1960s. It campaigned for men and women to be treated equally. In 1970, they protested at the Miss World's beauty pageant. Some threw bags of flour on the stage. This year, the government passed the Equal Pay Act to make sure that women were paid the same as men. In 1975, the Sex Discrimination Act made it illegal to treat women differently from men in the workplace. In 1979, the British people elected their first female Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher. The troubled times of the 70s inspired new kinds of music that offered people an escape from everyday life. Glam rock appeared at the beginning of the decade. Glam rockers such as T-Rex and David Bowie were bright space age costumes and makeup. Disco became popular in the late 70s. It was upbeat dance music with a strong rhythm. Young people flocked to disclose to dance to the latest songs. Punk rockers played angry fast music which criticized the establishment, and try to shock people as much as possible.